Alright, hello ladies and gentlemen of the internet, welcome to the channel, my name is Prosec, and welcome back to UKSG Blue Marathon for 2023. Let's get a cheer in chat for our next runner here, Mizzow, who will be running Dissidia Final Fantasy. Take it away, my friends.
Thank you very much. I've actually brought a young, inspiring runner to our game here with me to do commentary. Yeah, we quite literally have a little mini me. That's actually the younger version of myself. So we are just going to get our file named here UKSG in respect. We're actually going to pick our day to Sunday and our play plan to hardcore. This young man will explain everything as we go, so don't worry, you're going to love his voice.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am not going to shut up for the next 20 to 30 minutes.
Right, we get a countdown in, Chief?
Tech, we ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Am I muted? I'm muted the entire time. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to shut up for the next 20 to 30 minutes. We are playing Dissidia Final Fantasy here. In front of you, you will see a couple of numbers. I'm going to explain some game mechanics. If you look on the left right now, you'll see a blue number and a HP bar underneath. Dissidia Final Fantasy has two types of attacks. It has bravery attacks and HP attacks. This larger number up top is what is known as their bravery, and it will decide how much damage we are doing with our HP attacks, which will then affect the HP bar underneath.
We know how this will end.
Currently we're in a bit of a tutorial phase playing Warrior of Light. We are hitting the enemy with a bravery attack and then comboing it into a HP attack to kill them. Bravery attacks work in a way that when you hit the enemy, you exchange their bravery to increase yours. We'll be seeing that the enemy's HP is being the enemy's bravery is being reduced to 0, at which point that bravery number in the middle of the 2 HP bars is being added to ours. At which point, after our bravery number has turned blue, which indicates that we are able to one-shot the enemy, we are going to use a HP attack. Going to do a quick menu here, and then we'll be going into the prologue again, playing Warrior of Light. We will not be sticking on Warrior of Light, we'll be changing over to another character in about 5.5 or 6 minutes time, but we do have a couple of tutorial fights to do. In that first introduction part, we did have access to an additional ability called Rune Saber. We are going to be missing that now. We are playing a slightly weaker version of Warrior of Light currently.
The 5-fight little tutorial version, you actually have a very buffed version of the character, whereas now that you're actually in the game, you're completely set back to level 1.
Yep, we are missing one of the key attacks that we used there in that intro, called Rune Saber, which is a bravery to HP attack. We'll be going over those a little bit later in the run. There's a couple of mechanics that, whilst we have access to them at very early points, we need to get some core mechanics explained first. The story mode, the progression and map of is played on these chessboard-esque maps, with this red marker on the right hand side of our screen indicating the end of what we'll call a floor. So we are trying to advance to that.
Give me strength.
Giving it a second here. Since we no longer have that attack Rune Saber, we are now going to use our bravery attack to go into a chase sequence, as we saw there. Clearly a bit of a different animation from earlier. The chase sequence allows you to use either a bravery attack or HP attack, playing a bit of a game of rock, paper, scissors, as the enemy is capable of dodging in these chase sequences. A bravery attack is a bit faster than a HP attack. A HP attack takes some time, which means that the enemy has to guess which one you're going to use and dodge accordingly. As if they dodge early, trying to dodge the bravery attack, they will get hit by the HP attack. Thankfully for us, at this point in the game, the enemies are stupid and dumb and bad at dodging. So as soon as we have the bravery available to us to be able to one-shot them, we are going to be hitting them with that HP attack. Ideally in all of these fights, we are going to be using this chase mechanic with Warrior of Light, as Warrior of Light's baseline HP attacks are rather slow and difficult to hit. The AI isn't very good at dodging these chase attacks currently anyway, so this is the faster option for us. Right here, you'll have seen that we picked up an EX core, and that bar on the left is filled up. This has taken us into EX. This varies from character to character. Some FF7 players may know it as Limit Break, same with FF8. Some FF9 players may know it as Trance, FF10 players may know it as Overdrive.
The equivalent super form of your favourite game is essentially what it allows us to do. And some of the older games that don't actually have these kind of forms, they introduce some nice custom and thematic versions for you, so you don't get to miss out. Warrior Elites here, anybody that's played FF1 will know about the upgraded job system from Bahamut, where you go from a knight to, I believe it's, he becomes like a white knight, the thief becomes a ninja, etc, etc. The mages become wizards.
Onion Knight, for example, gains access to job changes as well and becomes one of the 2 late game accessible job changes. I believe Sage and Ninja? Sage is correct. So for example, he gains access to Holy and Ninjutsu.
So the prologue stage here is actually teaching us mechanics about the game, and the important one here is that when you engage a piece on the board and there's also another piece adjacent to you, it will chain into those pieces, essentially forcing you into extra fights. This will be very important later on when we start resetting floors to gain an ability that allows us to prevent these combos from occurring.
We are about 40 minutes out from that, perhaps?
Give or take. It'll become relevant much later.
Yes. We are looking to avoid that as much as possible. There will be certain points in time in which we chain into a mob that we are not required to kill, and we instead just flee from it. But going back to explaining EX gives us some damage buffs, some critical strike buffs, makes our attacks more likely to win clashes with other attacks. You can also activate EX at any point, so it can be a bit of a combo breaker. If you activate EX in the middle of being attacked, you'll burst out and stun the enemy, gain a bit of an advantage, be able to get an attack off. So we do use it at times for the safety aspect of that.
It's important to know that every attack that you and your opponent deal start generating orbs around, which a bell-like core will appear on the map eventually. Usually it's dependent on time, but some cases there are conditions for it, and that will just absorb all of those orbs in and allow you to generate a mass amount of EX at once. The key element of speedrunning Dissidia is actually understanding how each individual mob's AI works, and as soon as that core appears on screen, it usually causes a turn in the AI. Some might just go straight for it and become very hard to get to. Some...
excuse us real quick, this is the first boss fight of the run, and unfortunately we have experienced what we refer to in the Dissidia community as a skill issue, where Mizzow has been hit by the opponent. A fairly rudimentary AI, considering we're still in the tutorial. I feel like you should face that way and play the video game. He doesn't like me very much.
I don't know why I brought him.
We have there just finished the tutorial. In doing so, we've gained what is known as PP. We are going to be spending some of this so that we have some bonus experience. As you can see at the top right, it says today is a special day. We specifically selected our special day to be Sunday earlier. Please don't miss menu and buy your PP icon boost. Thank you very much. So today we are receiving some bonus experience, some bonus gil, some bonus AP, and some bonus PP. Gil and PP are spent in 2 separate types of shops. EXP obviously levels us up, and AP levels our abilities. Thankfully, we now no longer need to play Warrior of Light and are currently playing as Zidane, who, as far as we are aware, is the fastest character, predominantly because of an attack that he has called Free Energy. If you notice on the map right now, there is a tile at the top right blocking our end point. We do have access to the shop right now, so we are going to hop in here. We're going to sell the broadsword. Zidane cannot equip swords. we are in Glasgow, so we are going to buy a knife, and we are going to buy a hat, which is going to increase our initial bravery. Our initial bravery being the amount of bravery that we start a encounter with. But also, after using a HP attack, we haven't really seen this yet because we've one-shot all enemies when we've HP attacked them. After we use a HP attack, our bravery is going to return to 0 and then climb back up to our initial amount. Taking this top fight here, as it has, as we'll see in a moment, unlocked that top right panel. So no matter what, we would either have had to have done this top left fight or the bottom right fight that you can see here. Giving that a second to clear. There we go. So no matter what, we were doing an additional fight, and this one does have significantly less HP than that fight at the bottom right. Skipping that chest there, I am not sure what's actually in it, but it is nothing useful to us at the moment or for the rest of the run. And items on the board do take quite a notable amount of time to pick up. We intentionally avoid basically all of them. I believe for chests there's one item.
We pick up two in the whole run. One is actually on the 5th floor of Zidane's story, and the other one is on the 1st floor of the end game stories.
What is the item that we pick up on the 5th floor?
That's the Rosetta Stone. We
Rosetta
sell it.
Stone.
It's very...
Yes, the item that we're picking up is essentially just... It's a nugget from Pokemon. You just pick it up and sell it for Gil. It will help us buy a bit higher level equipment after a point in the time, which we spend leveling. We are going to be taking a small intermission at part of our story to go out and intentionally power level. At the top you can see here a level bonus, which is based on some bonus objectives that we can do in fights. This is going to give us some additional gil, but there are some of these that we write intentionally to give us bonus PP, which we will be using again to buy more of those experience boost type permanent upgrades. I feel like I might have missed it, but did you do your ability menu when you went into the shop?
That actually comes up here just because we got level 3. So we're actually going to jump up and do this fight here. In the prologue, we actually generated what's called a battle gen by... It's a random chance that happens when you break opponents in the prologue. And getting access to that allows us to get into the shop one floor early. But we're just going to have to defeat this mob to get level 3, to then equip our very cool and very broken ability.
We used a HP attack there out of our chase, and the enemy slammed into the ground. When the knockback from a HP attack knocks an enemy into a wall, the ground counts as a wall, you can receive a wall rush damage bonus. This is where the HP damage done by the attack is increased by 1.5 times. However, this damage cannot reduce an enemy below 1 HP, so quite often in this run you'll see an enemy get slammed into a wall and live on 1 and have to take another HP attack. We'll try to do that as quickly as possible. This fight is optional and we do not wish to do it, so we'll be running away. At a later point in the run, we are ideally going to be skipping these chains. Taking this potion here, it is technically optimal, although I believe this fight is quite difficult. We're using a skill there called Macer Eye to do 20% of the enemy's HP. I'm gonna give our runner Mizzow some silence here for this fight. We're getting rid of basically everything that isn't useful to us, although you may have noticed in the bravery attack section there that we equipped Tempest twice. When completing fights, we will be generating AP, which is essentially experience for our skills. And by equipping it twice, we generate twice as much AP. We're looking to master that as quickly as possible, as we will generate another skill from mastering it. Going a bit quiet here. Landing quite a lucky crit. This is what is known as an EX burst, whenever landing a HP attack in EX mode, we have the opportunity to press our HP attack button again. I don't know that this kills. This does kill. Very well played. Apologies for the silence. That fight is notably tricky, especially considering an EX core spawned there. It's likely that Kefka's AI would have changed and wasted some more time. A EX burst is essentially a ultimate attack that you can perform once whilst in your EX mode after landing a HP attack, and performing it will remove you from EX mode to completely end your EX. There will be times where we'll be using this to land some additional guaranteed damage or finish enemies off, although we tend to avoid it as the animations are obviously quite long.
Even though Kefka here is a very early boss for story, he's arguably one of the hardest in the game for each of the stories just because of the way his character works. He's a very trolley based character, as you would expect from a clown, and that fight, you're basically on a timer of your own EX depleting. And if you end up outside of your EX, not only are you losing your ability to burst, but your damage depletes very dramatically.
Going to wall rush here. Enemies on 1 HP, and we're going to quickly hit it with Tempest, as it's easier to hit than free energy, but then cancel out of it by dodging, leaving the enemy in a bit of hit stun to give us a guaranteed free energy. We'll be using that multiple times throughout the run. Going back to Kefka being difficult, the other part about that is that right now we are roughly on level with the opponents that we are versing, but very shortly, in 8-ish minutes,
Give or take.
8 to 10 minutes, we are going to be leaving this part of the story mode to do that power leveling that we mentioned earlier. This is going to make us significantly more powerful. Again, wall rush mechanic happening. Looking for slightly more bravery this time, so ideally landing a Tempest. There we go. We did, if you notice there, hit Kuja with a lot of critical hits on that Tempest, seemingly an amount that wouldn't be standard by RNG. When you HP attack an opponent, your bravery is reduced to 0, so that you can't just HP attack them again with the massive amount of bravery that you have gathered previously. However, since your bravery is at 0, you are at risk of being what is known as bravery broken, which is what we mentioned earlier, where the bravery from the middle is added to our own, or the opponents if they break us. And so to reward you for taking risky exchanges shortly after landing a HP attack on an opponent, you have an increased critical strike chance. Similarly to what just happened there, shortly after landing a block, you also have a increased critical strike chance, just to reward a bit of skill expression. Landing a free energy there, unfortunately on 0 bravery, looking to have had that recovered slightly faster, but we've recovered from it.
The outside of the boss stages, the common mob stages, every different stage, each one themed after a name, a numbered Final Fantasy up until 10. There's free spawns, so not only are you having to learn AI, but you're having to learn how to deal with different mobs and how their AIs work when they have different spawn points. That one for that fight's actually the best one, because 9 times out of 10, these skull piece will dash at you and you can block them. That helps you get riposte attacks off, which increases your bravery. But then you can get him into that corner, and it just allows you to get your free energies off fairly easily.
Needing to explain something quickly here, we picked up a summon earlier, which we've just equipped there. You'll notice the red icon with the A attached to it above our HP bar. The A stands for auto. You can either manually use summons, or some variants have auto versions that's going to activate now. This is Alexander Auto. What Alexander does is freezes your bravery. The auto version of it activates when you bravery break an opponent. So you'll notice there we hit him for 1002, and then our bravery did not reduce to 0, and we just hit him again.
It just locks in your bravery, so it's the pro of your bravery can't be reduced, at the con of you also then can't increase it for a short amount of time. Summons in this game mostly come in 2 variants. There's the automatic version, which a set condition will just activate it, or there's the manual version, which you have a lot more control over, but you have less summoning charges to use it with before it goes on a a cooldown phase where you need to physically win or lose matches to recharge it. Luckily, Alexander being the auto version gives us 3 charges, which is a perfect amount because we're only going to use them on these next 2 fights and then he's gone.
Very fast eyes if you noticed it there, but this opponent is actually a higher level than us, I believe by 2 levels currently. Land a Tempest here.
Yeah, this is not the great spawn for him because now he's going to go for a wee run.
This is some unfortunate RNG at the moment. But noticing that the enemy squad was technically a higher level than us, and in that beginning menu screen, holding on a minute, this EX score has spawned, so the AI may change slightly. Okay, we're good.
This AI tends to get a lot more aggressive once the core spawns. Some mobs get cowardly, some run straight for it, some try to fight you over it, and the closer you get to it, the more aggressive they become. You're constantly having to adjust to the AI changes, not only based on their spawn, but on their bravery, their HP value. This is why we tend to try and just take out pieces from full HP, so that we're not having to constantly deal with the fluctuating AI as their HP gets lower and lower gradually.
Taking on this piece as you are required to beat it to unlock the panel blocking us from the gate to the next floor. Xdeath is known for being a bit of a coward, so letting him play this one out. We should be fine to just land a free energy here off of this.
This piece specifically not only has a heightened defense, but also has the cowardly AI trait, where he's just constantly dodging and running away from you. He's actually one of the few, especially one of the early mobs, that can break out of your Tempest combos very easily.
Going back to what I was saying about that Squall piece being a bit higher level than us, in the initial scouting menu phase, it showed that he had a bravery bonus. I believe we're going to be fleeing from this piece. This piece also had it. This is what happens when an enemy is higher level than you. They are benefited by that by being given a multiplier on their initial bravery. This scales almost exponentially with level. The increase in bravery that they get per level is not anywhere close to linear. Which, are we going to be abusing that now or on the next floor?
Right now.
Right now. Perfect time for an explanation of this.
So we're actually going to go beat up a mob that can one-shot us.
Yeah, we're leaving. We don't want to do this floor.
Not yet.
We are about to be on our 20th fight of the run. And at the start of the run, we decided that we were very hardcore. There is something in this game called a play plan, where each time you complete a battle, the play plan advances, and depending on which battle you're on, you may get some bonus rewards from the battle. We are coming up on a fight that will give us 5x experience, and we can increase Furian's level based on what we just bought by 30. So Furian gets a bravery bonus of 30. Sorry, a bravery bonus of 30 levels. I'm going to give Mizzow some quiet here because this is fairly technical baits. Yeah, and we just used his bravery against him. We are baiting Furian there to use one of his attacks called Straight Arrow, and then dashing into it at a point in time that effectively allows us to perfect parry it. So we are not taking damage from it, or parrying it, and the explosion from it, because we have blocked it, is then hitting Furian and ideally at times slamming him into the ground, just so we got that wall rush bonus there to do 1.5 times damage.
I think I'll quickly go into the customize menu here just to show off what you're talking about.
Sure.
The play plan. So we'll flash that real quick down at the bottom right. How do we quick click that? And I'm off.
Okay, so this next fight is our 5x XP fight. So we are going to be getting a massive amount of experience here. At which point we are going to be using a piece of tech discovered by fellow runner Leonis. You saw we just got 53,000 experience.
Okay, he's not going to play fair with us, so we're just going to let his bravery restore.
We were looking to bravery break him down and then hit him with an attack of our own, but instead we're just going to bait some more straight arrows.
We'll try again. Nope, okay.
Doesn't seem to have went too well.
No, sometimes he just doesn't let you do it, so we'll just let his bravery come back up. Oh, we're going to get rid of... Oh, okay.
One more.
I think we'll just take him out the old-fashioned way. There we go.
Okay. Do not press return to menu. We are going to be doing some tech discovered by fellow runner Leonis. Shortly after this run was completed at ESA, Leonis discovered some tech. As you could see there, we advanced from levels 11 to 26, and then in the bottom right, the game said saving. So the game has locked in the fact that we are level 26. However, we did not select a rematch or select return to battle setup or select a return to title screen. So it hasn't advanced our play plan, and we still have that 5x experience. Ta-da! We are still 40 battles away from that treasure chest. We started at 60, we are 20 deep, we have that 5x experience still on this next fight. Because we soft reset after we got the experience, but before it advanced the play plan. So right now we're going to get to some ridiculous levels. We're thinking probably around 70. That's where we'll call it
So
quits.
very quickly we have to do this one extra fight to get us above level 30, because that actually unlocks the next round of CPU level increases that we can buy out of the PP catalogue.
And as was mentioned earlier, the enemies will be getting a bravery bonus due to the fact that they are significantly higher level. And that bonus is not exactly linearly scaling. So when Firian here hits, what, level 90, what level are you? 93. He's going to have thousands of bravery. And we are going to use that to our own benefit to gain massive amounts of experience. Soft resetting just a couple more times to get us to the point where we are incredibly high level, at which point, when we return to the story, we'll be the ones with the massive bravery bonus on the enemies. Fitting there having 7,000 bravery, the maximum HP in this game being 9999.
So we'll do this one more time, and that will be us set for the rest of the run. So we go from the old route of this game, where you basically just rushed the end game and you were 20, 30 levels under everything, to now we get sweet revenge with this new route where we are 40 levels above them and get to bully them.
Again, thank you to our fellow runner, native of France, Leonis, who discovered this tech.
3 days after this run was at ESA.
This run was at ESA, I believe, on the Tuesday?
The Monday.
The Monday at around 1 or 2 p.m. UK. Leo then went home and discovered this, whilst Mizzow was still at ESA after the two of them raced just a couple days prior. What level did we end up hitting?
74.
No.
74, which is objectively the perfect level that we usually
Almost
have.
selecting Warrior of Light there would have been a bit of a time loss, but
No.
thankfully
We don't like Warrior of Light. We have to
do
put
not
up
like
with
Warrior
them
of
enough in the early game. We do not want to see him again.
We like Warrior of Light in those first 5 intro fights where we have Rinsaber. After that, Warrior of Light is boring and slow. We do not like Warrior of Light. We like Zidane and Cloud, but mostly Zidane. Zidane being very fast again because of how quick we can hit enemies with free energy. So, taking a quick glance at our bravery number. Oh, that's 1,000. Enemy's dead.
It is interesting to know that every runner of the game all plays different characters, which is the beauty of this game.
Yeah.
I'm a Zidane runner. Star here is actually an Onion Knight runner from FF3. Leo played Tidus from 10 and then moved on to Cloud to 7 when we went to ESA. And we've had old runners in the past who played Firian from FF2 and Squall from FF8, who actually, before I came into the game, was the world record holding character.
This character likes to dash at us, we like to block him and then instantly kill him. This is going to be a lot of the fights from now on. We are ridiculously broken. We should not be level 70 28 minutes into a Final Fantasy game, as I'm sure we're all aware. Most Final Fantasy games, the speedruns end at level maybe in their 40s at best.
We went from 2 discoveries of generating very quick EXP. We went from a game that was extremely backloaded with fights that you were very underprepared for and had to maneuver around, to the entire early game up until finishing that EXP farm is essentially where the game is. That's your hard reset.
The hardest fight in this run for Zidane is Kefka 1.
Yes.
Who's like, what, level 7, 8?
Just a tricky character super early on, and you're a character that does not do a lot of damage.
Whereas we are now level 74. We do some damage now.
So in the story, right in these stories, we're about 60 levels higher than what we're actually meant to be, and then we immediately rush the end game where that starts to balance out the more and more we go.
Yeah, this opponent is level 10 and is considered a boss.
Okay, yep, he's going to do a Carbuncle.
Enemy there using a summon of his own called Carbuncle. Carbuncle sets the opponent's bravery to your own, so our bravery would have been set at about 200. Not very fun. EX score spawning, changing his AI slightly. Hopefully we're land of free energy here. That was roughly the very end of the hitbox. I'm kind of surprised that hit. Am I wrong there?
This was actually one of the fights that changed an awful lot with new routing, because going into this fight with a bravery that can instantly kill him makes him want to, when you're within certain distances of him, he'll just activate Carbuncle, which just ruins the entire fight, because then we need to build our bravery back up. So it became an objectively easy fight. You just had to be good with your initial timing. You now have to space control like a madman, or he is just going to take all of your bravery away.
We are now transitioning into a supposedly harder part of the run. However, we are so brokenly overpowered at this point that it doesn't really matter. We have finished Zidane's own personal story and are now kind of just descending the circles of hell, I guess, is supposed to be what the story is, really.
Pretty much.
Yeah, we're going into what is known as Shade Impulse 1. We're going to be doing 4 of these and then fighting the final boss at the end of the 4th one.
This content, ideally, the game wanted you to be about level 54.
The final boss, I believe, is level 48.
Give or take, yeah. But he's also actually reduced in level compared to all the mobs around him because of the unique way that he works.
But we will get to that in 40 minutes?
Give or
40
take,
minutes.
give or take.
I was going to say 35, 40 minutes, but it's probably closer to 40.
So now we're just dealing with the fact that we are, for the most part, most of the mobs we're going to go up against till about Shade Impulse 3, we essentially can just one-shot. But you still have to react to where they spawn, which stage you're on, what they're doing, what their different AIs are. And the most annoying one is some stages just like to instantly spawn an EX core, and as you're dashing towards an opponent, their AI changes and you can't do anything about it.
Noting that whilst we are one-shotting things just now, because of the way that our bravery bonus works and the enemy HP works, as their levels increase, how powerful we are relative to them is somewhat reducing in 2 ways. Our initial bravery is going to be reducing and their maximum HP is going to be increasing. However, we do still have a couple of strength gains. I believe we're picking this item up. We are. This item is called a Valor Incense. We are going to be equipping this literally for the last boss. This is a accessory that's effectively a one-of-one consumable item, where equipping it will double our initial bravery, but it will break as soon as the fight has completed.
You get one use of it, and it's a banger use.
We get one use of it with some terms and conditions that we will get to when we get to the final boss, and I remind Mizzow to equip it because I know that I personally, no flame, I'm also a bad player, I know that I personally have challenged the final boss without equipping it, and my bravery has been half of what I have expected, at which point you kind of need to make up some strats on the fly. We are not going to talk about that.
I believe that's called a skill issue.
And that is called a skill issue. I referred to our skill issue term earlier on in the run. Free energy does not have a hitbox at the very beginning of it. How do I put this? Zidane's free energy is a bit like Yoshi's melee grab.
Stop. For the more popular game Duodecim, the second one in the series, any Zidane player in that game, as rare as you are, might be wondering why that free energy didn't land, and that's because, like any true fighting game,
You did it again. So as you can see on the bottom right corner, the icon of this enemy is a gold piece. Gold pieces are pieces on the board that have something special about them. They all spawn at 1 HP, but they generally have some additional cheesy mechanic. This one, for example, spawns with EX and just wants to hit you with HP attacks. But there's other ones that have a collection of accessories that massively increase their defense with insane, like 32 times multipliers under certain conditions that will just start taking 0 damage if certain missteps are taken. That Kefka was a boss fight, right?
yes. It's very...
So that was a Kefka boss fight on the same stage as the previous Kefka boss fight. Viewers at home, I want you to see if you can figure out which one we found more difficult. Unsure why this one is so much easier, considering we're a measly level 76 against, what level was he? Early teens?
15, I believe.
15. So we only have a 61 level advantage on him. Sometimes that's just the way it is.
It's worth noting that once you beat any characters, they're called Destiny Odysseys, which is just their story mode. Any character can immediately come into these Shade Impulses, which is the end game. But generally for casual players, if you walked in here with a level 12 character, you would get annihilated immediately. And the game's just like, nope, you leave now and you go interact with the RPG elements of this game.
As much as that Kefka was level 15, that Kefka had 2,900 HP, and we are level 76 and have 5,500. So he is a very well geared level 15, shall we say. But yes, the way that our character selection works in this game is that each character has effectively 5 floors of their initial story. And then we have access to Shade Impulse on all characters. There will be 4 of these Shade Impulses that each have multiple, a varying amount, but multiple floors each. At the end of Shade Impulse 4, we will be fighting the final boss. Which, spoiler alert, is basically the devil. Quite literally, we fight him in hell.
In a very awkwardly small stage.
In an intentionally awkwardly small stage. I'm not entirely sure on the details, because to me this is a fighting game and not an RPG. However, to me FF14 is a MMO and not an RPG, so everybody's welcome to experience games in their own way. Believe it or not, this is a Final Fantasy game whose story is somewhat making social commentary on religion, which has never happened before in any Final Fantasy story. Correct me if I'm wrong? Except for, like... every Final Fantasy.
The wonderful thing about it is that anybody that enjoys this series has played the second game, Duodecim, which did a lot to fix the confusion of what is happening in this game. So, we won't spoil it for you, but if you like this one, you'll love the sequel, because it just explains everything you need to know, and also has this really amazing take on the story of FF1.
Square Enix has created a game where you experience the story and have no clue what's going on, and then experience another version of the game and get some clues as to what's going on. Drawing some parallels to Kingdom Hearts here, however, the difference between this and Kingdom Hearts is that even if you have played every single Kingdom Hearts game, you still have no idea what's going on.
I can't defend that.
Nobody can.
I was not prepared for this commentary.
No. Nobody's prepared for the story of Kingdom Hearts either.
This isn't even a Kingdom Hearts game.
It has Cloud in it. It has
Stop.
Squall in it.
You mean
Put
Leon?
Zidane in Kingdom Hearts 4.
No, please don't. Please don't do
Please
that.
don't do that.
Please don't do that.
Please don't do that.
Square? Don't do that.
Please don't do that. But yes, the story of this game, I mean, we're very clearly, visibly in hell right now. But the story of this game is a bit of a, like, heaven and hell, good guys, bad guys, there is God, there is the devil, there is a bit of a war between them.
You essentially get called in from your respect.
Can we please stop missing free energies by being too close?
Look, I've played a lot of Duodecim recently, and they changed free energy a lot in that game.
I'm gonna call Amsa, and he's gonna Red Yoshi coach you on how to not miss free energies.
I preferred when Leo was in that seat. Where's my Frenchman? somebody just phone an ambassador of France and get Leo over here immediately.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are currently experiencing a world first where a Scotsman has said that he would prefer that a Frenchman be sat beside him.
Yes, absolutely. He doesn't bully me to this degree.
Brotherly privilege.
Can't argue with that.
There's not many things that I say that he can argue with. I'm quite commonly correct. He can't argue
Leo's
with
an
that.
absolute champion. He was the one that actually got
Yeah.
me into this game
Yes,
a few years back.
Again, we've mentioned him a couple of times, especially in relation to XP farming, but enormous shout out to twitch.tv/Leonis, who has discovered so much tech for this game. It has saved tons of time. He's brought multiple people onto the scene.
He's basically the ambassador of this game.
Yeah, I believe it was
I
at
love him for it.
least part of the reason that this run got brought to ESA as
Yes,
well.
actually, yeah.
And through ESA, found into UKSG Blue, a partner of ESA. But yes, enormous shout out to Leo. He holds basically every character-specific any percent record for this game, except for Zidane, who is the fastest, and therefore he technically doesn't hold world record for any percent. I don't know that he plays Zidane.
No,
Commonly.
I don't know if he's intimidated by it, but Leo's unique ability is he plays everything at a high level and just doesn't touch this character, which, respect. I'm a one-trick pony. He can, like, you ask me to play any other character, and I'm like, okay, how does this one work? And Leo's just, he's off already. He's already 5 minutes into the run, and I'm trying to work out what half their buttons do.
I picked this game up shortly after ESA 2023, so just under 2 months ago, and picked up on Unite and started trying to discover some things for him. At which point Leo just, not with massive time games, but was experimenting with things that kind of just turned the run upside down. We selected very different offensive ability routings. We mentioned significantly earlier, literally level 3, that Mizzow equipped a bravery attack called Tempest. He equipped that twice in an attempt to level it faster. We'll go back to talking a bit about that. How close are we to?
Right at the start of Shade Impulse 3 is your trigger for that.
Okay, so we are a little bit away. We are one Shade Impulse chapter, so probably 12-ish minutes away from having this.
It's worth noting a comment that I made earlier about the beauty of anybody can come into Dissidia and you can just pick whichever character is your favourite Final Fantasy. Which I know now saying that I'm just going to get an influx of cloud runners, but that's fine by me. I'm actually going to do a quick menu here.
What are we doing here?
Everything.
Is this us equipping your very high level abilities?
Nope.
The basic abilities, extra button. I believe in you.
See, repose, crit.
Reposed EX critical boost, first strike,
Take
and
this off.
sneak attack. So probably the most important one is first strike. If we are the first person to land an attack within a fight, you're going to have a very significantly increased critical strike chance. Doing a bit of a buy menu here, as we have a lot more gil than we did previously and are a lot higher level. Picking up a weapon to do additional, to have additional attack stats, make us do more damage, and buying a hat, as hats make you have a increased initial bravery. Right before this X-Death boss fight, we have some map RNG here, so let's hope that there's not a building between us. Is there a building? There is not a building.
Oh my god, there's not a building.
There was a building in practice. In this big purple void, sometimes there's a building, sometimes there isn't. Sometimes there's 4 buildings with a path in between. We're fine with 4 buildings. We're fine with no buildings. We do not like if there is 1 building.
You have to go all the way
You have to go
around.
all the way around. There's literally just a block in front of you.
A block of impenetrable stone that
Yeah.
you just can't get through. You have to walk all the way around it, and it's so slow.
In our traditional fastest method of travel in this game are these dashes that we've been performing. We haven't particularly talked about the movement, however there is something that I need to comment on. As it turns out, you can't dash through solid blocks of stone, so our movement there is significantly impaired.
Now, for the keen eye among you, you'll have noticed that I've been using these board abilities fairly rarely. However, we've just unlocked one here called Invisible, and that now fills the third slot, which already had an ability called Scanning It. So now when we spawn in here, we have a 50-50
Ladies and gentlemen, flip a coin and land on heads.
We lost.
Nope, alt F4. Don't actually alt F4.
No, don't do it. So, Invisible, the mechanic that we explained earlier, where if you start activating fights with mobs that are adjacent to you, you'll chain into them. Invisible essentially gets rid of that mechanic for you, and in Shade Impulse 2, that translates to about a 7.5 minute time save, but every time we have to reset for it, it's about a 40-second loss. So we need to reset this, like, do the math on that. How many times? 8, 9 times? For it to
too many,
just go
but
even.
only 2 if you flip a coin and land on heads. We landed on heads! We have Invisible. We are activating this instantly, as it will last for all of Shade Impulse 2. As you could see here, we'll notice it as soon as we finish this fight. This piece, we are standing adjacent to another piece, so traditionally we would... Please stop doing that. We would... You were about to do it again and you got hit.
Look,
I
I've been
would've
playing a
blamed you.
lot of PvP lately, and free energy is at melee range. I should stop playing PvP before speedruns.
So we did have a piece adjacent to us. You will notice that it says chain here, and previously when this has happened, we've just ran away. Chain, get angry. But we just leave, because we are invisible. We will see a stage on this. Is it floor 2 or floor 3? Floor 3, so we are a floor away from it, where this gets incredibly important.
Oh, I hate this piece. It's so cowardly. It's so much better when you get the upper spawn and he just starts firing multiple projectiles at you, because you can just dash through them. But those ones, they catch you midair.
We'll notice there that that enemy had about 3,000 HP and we had about 3,400 bravery on it, so we are
We're
closing
starting
in on
to equal out.
Yeah, we're closing in on some fights where we're not necessarily instantly one-shotting things with free energy. Free energy is an amazing ability to have access to as a HP attack.
Arguably the best one in the game.
Yeah, I would say the best one in the game, and probably the reason Zidane is one of the fastest characters. It has amazing upsides, being how fast it is. HP attacks are not normally this fast, and the fact that we can cancel out of certain attacks and land it guaranteed. However, unlike some other HP attacks, it does not do any bravery damage whatsoever. So on other characters, we get to break enemies and gain that stage bonus, which gives us a bit more leeway. However, on Zidane, gonna need access to some other things, which brings back a talking point that kind of cancelled out earlier. We are looking to master the ability Tempest, as mastering it gives us access to a new ability called Mizzow Twister. Mizzow Twister is what is known as a HP to bravery attack. Hold on for a second. Lost the 50-50.
So that fight, no matter what spawn you get, you cannot get to him fast enough before he activates his summon. Santen Sukin, anybody that loves Odin out there, 50-50 chance you just get bravery broken. If you don't, it's great. You dash at him, you kill him immediately. If it does, you need to hit him twice.
Quite a few coin flips in this run. We're looking to, if you include that one, we're looking to win 4 coin flips. We are looking to get Invisible on Shade Impulse 2.
3 coin flips and a D3.
What's the D3?
Jump.
Is jump a D3?
Yeah.
Jump's a D3.
Scan, invisible, jump.
Okay. We're looking to get Invisible on Shade Impulse 2, we're looking to get Invisible on Shade Impulse 3, and then we're looking to get another board skill called Jump on Shade Impulse 4 that lets you jump over a piece. Going back to Mizzow Twister, we will be unlocking a HP to bravery to HP attack, which will allow us to land a bravery attack and then hit a HP attack. Not too sure what the pathing on this board is. Going to be a couple of difficult fights. Ah,
That's why we have
We are
invisible.
invisible. I forgot we're invisible.
If you didn't have this ability, every one of those squares you walk past, fight, 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 fight. And they chain into each other. You need to flee all of them. It's a horrible... That floor goes from 20 seconds to over 5 minutes.
Yes.
It's horrible. You don't want to fight any of them.
And obviously there's some other points in Shaded Missiles too where we do gain time from being invisible, even literally on
The first
the
piece.
finishing of the first fight.
So,
Are we doing new route?
yes.
we
So,
are
somebody
doing
got lost.
Hi! I picked up Dissidia shortly after ESA, roughly 2 months ago. Playing Onion Knight just casually, wasn't really going for World Record, so I was like, oh, I'll have fun with this for a little while. And on one of, I also was doing it shortly after the tech discovered by Leonis that allowed us to be extremely powerful. I then got to this floor, right here, and wasn't quite sure which direction to go. I forgot what happened in the run, I didn't have the stream up. The end piece hasn't spawned. And so I did that fight, and then did this guy.
Which
That
was
is not
Yeah.
That is not what we did previously, actually. Because this fight, if you'll notice, this is the first fight where we haven't been able to just one-shot something. This fight is a lot higher level. That board piece in the bottom right clearly looks a bit stronger than the other ones. So we didn't previously do this fight. After we'll have completed this fight, our exit gate will have spawned, at which point we'll have done 2 fights on the floor.
One more, actually. You got very lost here.
I got very lost.
This used to be a 5-floor fight that involved you going up the top path, coming back down to the middle. A fight would spawn where my piece originally was there, and it just took forever. The new blood came in, got lost, and then the 2 old guards got to sit there and go, wait a minute, that's faster.
Yep.
Which just goes to show how helpful it is when fresh blood comes into your speed game and just puts you in your place of, hey, old man, this is how we're doing stuff now.
When we say, hey, old man, this is how we're doing stuff, we also like to land Tempests.
Hey, this is a legendary piece, okay?
Clearly. Gonna let him focus up for a second here.
Oh, lost that 50-50. Interesting, okay.
Oh, dear me. We are
We'll cut-
restarting.
we'll
that, did
cut our
not, that did not
losses.
go very well.
No.
We're gonna pretend that that didn't happen. As you'll notice, these pieces are notably more difficult, so it can be a bit tricky. You can imagine if we were under-leveled here, this would not be enjoyable, which is why previously we took a bunch of the easier pieces to fight.
The old route Zidane would not deal damage to this piece. That's how low level you are in comparison to it. The fact that
Its defense is so high that you would hit it for 0.
0 to 1s, you would have to crit it for 1 damage. It was awful. That's why we avoid them. Like, even with my level 80, my attacks were only doing 33 to that. And I have a significantly better weapon on as well.
Yes.
So no, this 5-floor fight, the old guard was quite happy to do. New blood came in and got lost, and now it's 3 fights, and so much faster. And this happened twice.
Yeah, this happens on more than one floor.
This happens on this floor as well.
Yeah, so I got lost and was like, I'll go this way. And then was like, that fight looks kind of hard.
It's great. It's great when
let's-
the guy that's been in your speed game for
Yeah.
3 hours turns up in Discord and goes, hey, I cut 3 fights from the run. And you're like, how? What have you done?
How much time are we estimating that that saved?
Over a minute.
Wait a minute. Which, in
These
a world record run of like an hour 9?
These 3 fights
Saving-
saved about, I think we counted it to about a minute 12 time save.
We're saving 1.5%, which,
It's a lot.
when you're 3 hours into playing a game, it's a fairly decent cut. Thank you.
Before the route change, or Leonis's EXP find and your route introductions,
Yeah.
this game went from, if you had a sub 110, you were doing great, to now a banger run could probably sub 1.5. And that's just, if you win those 3 coin flips and get that D3 and play well the whole run, we could see a 104 one day.
Yeah. Definitely a lot of improvements available to the record of this run, but it is mildly RNG dependent and highly skill dependent. As much as it does look like we are somewhat trouncing these fights with how ridiculously powerful we are, these fights can waste a lot.
Well, we did see that in the previous floor.
Yeah.
Sometime
With that Sephiroth fight, we did see quite a time loss.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need to cut your losses, and that entire fight is your time.
This fight does also have some tricky AI. This fight kind of messed with us in practice today.
Oh, he is not being fun.
Hitting a block.
There we go.
There we go. Just gonna chase in HP attack. Probably gonna miss. Probably looking to get out of this and just land a free energy. This is styling. This is not at all necessary. This is Emperor's already at 0 HP. So we overkilled him by like 8,600. That is not time efficient. That is simply because Mizzow is angry that he got skeleton. We'll let that one slide because Emperor is a notably difficult
when
character.
he gets up to the ceiling, the distance between you and the corner you're going to put him in, that free energy is just going behind him.
Yes.
It's like, you need to take the chase mode.
Yes. But we took the chase mode, and because his AI is actually good,
We
he
got
dodged.
skilled on.
Yeah, he dodged. It's unfortunate, is what you do. Emperor is a very notably tricky, dodgy, defensive character. We are looking to win a coin toss here.
Again, this is the scan invisible coin toss. We will take it if we get scan, because it's not as dramatic as Shade Impulse 2.
We don't have that floor 3 in Shade Impulse 2 where there's just like 70 fights that you get forced into if you're not invisible.
No, we have an even funnier floor 3. So let's see if we win it anyway.
Is that perhaps one that I got lost on at a point in time?
I hope you didn't. If you did, I'm abandoning you as a brother. Okay. Right.
Oh, no, I know. Okay, I know what 3-3 is. Okay. This is how clueless I am about this game, and I put time saves into it. What did we get? I didn't pay attention.
We got scan.
We got scan. Okay, we got trolled. But we are not soft resetting.
No, we go.
This time.
This now gets to the point where getting the invisible saves you about a minute 20, which, if resetting the floor costs you 40 seconds, you need to get that in 2. And
if you get it in 2, you're even. If you get it in 1, you're slightly ahead.
yeah,
If it takes you longer, then like
it was just
you
wasn't
either
worth
just
it.
need to go for it, at which point you've wasted that time resetting, or for every reset after that, you're losing time.
Okay. The EX score spawned right
Yes.
as I blocked.
I was gonna say I didn't think there was a gold piece here.
Okay, maybe he. There we go. When he's that close to it, it's actually very handy because his AI immediately stops looking at you and looks to the bell right to him, and it's just the freest attack.
When are we looking for Mio Twister?
Next floor.
Next floor, Shady Mipples 3-2.
Perfect timing as well.
Perfect timing is it's incredibly handy on Shade Impulse 3-3, obviously. We'll let you guys see that one in a moment.
Stop hyping them up. That's unfair.
You
can't do this to them.
Do we have time for a quick donation?
Fire in, Chief, on your way.
All right, thank you very much to Sophie19, who donates $20 and puts that towards the Babbers U Blindfold True Ending Alternative Ending incentive. And they say, we need the happy ending for this run. True Ending is sick, any percent is fuzzy happy. All the luck RB, sub 40 incoming. Good vote of confidence there, and that puts us to a mere $100.80 for that incentive. But if you need further incentives and you want to see what else there can be, then in our upcoming Ghostbusters run, there is a little bit of character customization that you are in charge of. You may select not only the Ghostbuster, but what color their uniform is. There are a wide selection of options. Currently, we will be seeing Ray wearing a pink uniform, but if you want to see something else, then make yourselves known. With that though, back to the run, enjoy it.
Thank you very much to our great host there, Prozek. We have just used a skill called Mizzow here, which is going to instantly reduce this opponent's HP by 20%. This one is quite tricky because of a stage condition. You'll notice that both of our bravery amounts are being reduced by roughly 10% of what they currently are. Before going into this fight, we did equip this attack, Mizzow Twister. Without that, we would have been a bit tight on being able to one-shot the opponent. We also noticed, once we returned to the board, that we took this top right piece. This was, again, a side effect of me getting lost.
Usually we would go south here and work our way around the bottom of the board. But again, a combination of New Blood getting lost and us then realizing, oh wait a minute, we're kind of busted OP now. It's like, oh no, this is faster now. Unfortunately, this stage is very risky to do the free energy on because
of the spikes.
Well, Tempest knocks the opponent down, and the spike can just knock them. Gone. And it's like now you're just playing a game of ring around the garland, trying to chase him down because he has no bravery and is now scared of you.
This version of the stage is another one of those alternate versions that has a side effect similar to that bravery route. I believe the other route where we go bottom right is technically the same amount of fights. We need to flee from a chained mob if you don't have invisible.
Twice.
Two chained mobs.
It's the same mob twice.
And open a treasure chest.
Yeah.
Which
Even
is why
with
we need to flee from it the second time.
Even with invisible, that allows you to like cut that. The fact that you get the lag time of the invisible taking effect twice and opening the chest, it was just another like
opening chests is
30-second time save.
Yeah.
Who wants to fight any of this? Not me.
Don't need invisible for this one.
No.
Shout out to Final Fantasy runner and enormous helper at ESA Marathons, Mitako, who did this this floor live on stream at ESA 2023.
He did actually.
Probably the only floor that we would actually trust him to do.
He's never gonna see this.
Maybe I'll clip it.
Oh, maybe you should. That'd be great. He's been telling me for about 4 years now he's gonna pick up this game.
He did some individual character story runs a long time ago.
We don't
with
talk
help
about it.
from Leo.
We don't talk about it.
We're not mentioning that. That is somewhere in the depths of the internet.
No, that's on the board.
The board is the depths of the internet. We experienced there what again is known as a skill issue, where a random stage event, after getting a bad spawn location, just decided to spike us. That is also a skill issue where we miss a free energy. However, that wouldn't have mattered as we were on 0 bravery when we hit that. Probably looking to just hit a Mizzow Twister here.
We're going back to the old way.
You'll notice there that we're hitting for 0 and that this mob has a 64 times multiplier and is a gold piece. This is one of those like cheesy piece strategies that I was talking about earlier. His gimmick is that he reduces your bravery to 0 and then has some accessories on that multiplies his defense to a ridiculous level, so you're basically not able to hit him.
The only damage there was done through crits, which does go through some amount of defense.
Yeah. There was also some damage done when his multiplier technically wasn't active. I'm not entirely sure on the condition of his multiplier. The gimmick of this mob is just to summon. You're supposed to have less bravery than we do, so that is supposed to affect you more than it did.
And then he just plays like a coward.
Yeah.
This is actually the FF7 stage, which is one of 2 stages in the game that are very vertical.
Yeah.
Which,
the other
bless the developers for the representation, but this was played on a PSP. It did not. Anybody that's on the PSP, it does not do vertical very well.
Yeah, like the PSP screen is like this. The map is like this. That doesn't go very well. We are not playing on a square. We are playing on a very long rectangle.
We don't like the FF7 stage.
Nor the FF8 stage, which is to a similar effect. Ultimicia's tower. Towers are tall and not very wide. Who would have guessed? Except the tower that blocks our path on that X-Death fight. that we didn't get to see.
Just erect a wall in front of my timer.
This fight, I believe, we're going to see in a moment.
Okay.
This opponent, does have a Phoenix die and gets last chance. You cannot hit him below 1 HP on your first HP attack. He also gets EX instantly, and EX does help you regenerate your HP. So it does take a second to kill him more than 1 HP attack. We actually used 3 there as our second. Didn't hit for enough to kill him with his HP regeneration from EX.
He's one of the few pieces in the game that no matter what power level you're at, you need to kind of skill on him or he skills on you.
Yeah. The fact that you can't one-shot him, the fact that he's in EX, the fact that he has a very high AI level, the HP regeneration, meaning that you can't just instantly hit a second HP attack. It doesn't particularly matter how powerful you are against him, especially because he only has 1 HP. That fight, if you had the same attacks, would be as difficult on level 1 with no equipment as it would at our current level. Other than, I suppose, the mild aspect of his HP regeneration.
Other than he just one-shotting you.
Yeah.
Don't open the chest.
Yeah, this is not safe.
This is the one thing the new blood came in and asked the question, what does the chest do? And we said, we don't remember, we just don't open it. He opened it and now we remember.
I would like to note that whilst I did open it, I did save state beforehand. I'm not dumb, I'm just interested. If I see a box, I want to open it. Basically a cat.
Never played D&D, you would find every mimic.
Yeah.
You did all right.
I would ask a DM to just put every chest as a mimic just to get you. Because you would never learn. So now we're out of Shade Impulse 3, now we go into 4, and it's like, oh no, another 5 floors of this nonsense. No, we have 2 floors. They essentially just act as a villain boss rush, as much as we won't fight 4 to 5 of them, depending on the roll of a D3. This might be a good time to start explaining Chaos.
Yes, but let's look at our RNG first. Let's get Jump.
We're looking for Jump here. It's on the same
So that
ability
third slot.
tile as Scan and Invisible. Invisible still saves us a fight. Jump saves us 2. And Scan, nobody likes Scan. None of my
Nobody
homies
likes
like Scan. We don't need Scan. We can see the mobs. And huzzah!
We got Jump. This is Shade Impulse 4. This is the last sort of chapter of this. The previous Shade Impulses have had probably 5 or so floors. Shade Impulse 4 has 2. With the final fight basically being the devil, known as Chaos.
Oh, we never did go through the story, did we?
I mean, I kind of went through the story when I was talking about the fact that it's an FF game that deals with religion. Who would have known?
The entire concept of this game is that all of the main heroes and villains have been summoned by your traditional
God and the devil.
good goddess and bad boy devil bad man to just fight an endless war. Don't ask me why. They do not explain any of the actual story until the second game. This game was just get a 3D fighter out first and throw in an RPG along with it to justify it. Which was great. Loved them for it. Fantastic game. And then the second game they rolled around was, we can't get away with this twice. We need an actual story here.
Yes.
And also introducing like 6 extra characters.
Yeah, they made the addition of some of the newer Final Fantasy characters like Van and Lightning. I say new, it released in 2012. And some additional characters.
Yeah, we got Tifa, we got Laguna from 8. Trying to remember who else we got.
Why did they add a character with a gun? Every character here uses like a sword or cast spells. They added a character with a gun. It's just strange.
I mean, gunblades.
We take this potion.
Squall's a gunblade. Lightning has
it's not a gun.
gunblade. It has a gun on it. It's a gun.
Gun.
It's a gun with a knife on it. It's a Glaswegian's wet dream.
It's a big knife.
It's a big knife.
Big knife. experiencing a skill issue here.
So whatever, just gonna break
Skill
out.
issue grab.
I'm right here.
We were going to get hit by an attack there, but cleverly used EX after we missed. As activating EX does send out a burst of energy that interrupts and just gives you priority.
That is incredibly
Interrupt
OP,
stunts.
and believe
Yeah.
me, they nerfed it in the sequel.
Yeah, you can use it like in the middle of being actively comboed and just be like, nope.
Also, anybody that ever perfects map movement in this game, you're my hero, because this was built on a PSP, designed for a PSP's analog stick, and it is a nightmare.
So we are effectively coming up to Chaos right now because we have a jump.
Yeah, that's it.
We
It's
have a
straight to the
jump.
final boss.
The next fight is Chaos. Do your menu equip your Valor Incense? Would you have forgotten?
No.
Okay.
Did I forget it in practice?
Let's not talk about your practice run. You don't want me to talk about your practice run on stream.
You know what?
Respectfully.
Yeah, you've told it to everybody in here. Please don't tell it to like 500 people.
Anybody that's in here, vouch for me on that. I'm going to be equipping the Valor Incense here, increasing our initial bravery by 100%. We are going to be fighting Chaos. This is going to be a 3-phase fight with Tech. Listen to me here. At the end of the third fight, big text is going to come in that says the final blow. That is time.
This is my
Thank you.
potential redemption arc for ESA.
Yes. We had a bit of a shit show here at ESA. We can do this fight very quickly, like that. There's going to be 2 more fights.
To be fair, my first and second were really good, and then
Yeah.
I got the absolute
Yeah.
run around.
We want to be killing this guy very quickly because the longer the fight goes, the harder the fight gets. Same RNG again. We are very lucky here, hitting Meal Twister. We could have hit free energy, however, we are styling. When we're on 111 pace,
He will dodge out of that specific attack if you're trying
we are
to
on 111 pace without Invisible 3. We are approaching time in potentially 5 seconds. Could be upwards of 3 minutes though.
Woo!
Time. Sub 111 with a reset on Shade Impulse 2 for Invisible and no Invisible on Shade Impulse 3 is a incredibly good run. So enormous congratulations to our runner Mizzow here. That is an amazing time. 9 minutes under.